to increase the volume. We have to increase the volume so that others can hear us. And I know we're streaming on YouTube now. So if you're not here, and I think the YouTube link will be shared in our group, in the OSP group, what I would say is invite one person, invite two people, invite people that you know will benefit tremendously from today's session. So today is about two speakers, and we're going to have a wonderful, Owa from Abeokuta. Yeah, so see, I love when people listen to me. Alawal Taufik, nice to hear from you. So, as I said, my name is DK Jonah, and I am one of the people that has been blessed by the wonderful OSP family. And we have Jumoke Ekende in the house. So we have somebody from Abuja, Owa from Abuja, fantastic. And it's good to have everybody here today. So what is OSP and what should you be expecting to get today? You're going to hear from two amazing speakers. So the program is, we'll do the introductions and everything we have to do now. Then by 7:15 on the dot, I have a clock in front of me. I wish I could show you. We're going to go and have our session with Aisha Adams. Now, Aisha Adams, so we're going to make it interactive and we're not going to make it something that will bore you. But I'm sure you will have an amazing time with her. Then we'll have a 10 minutes break by 8 o'clock. So you will stretch, we may play music. For those of you that have not danced in years, we will make you dance a little wherever you are, but we don't want you to be stuck on your system. We want you to move around because so many times we are just in front of the computer doing different things. And we have another Owa from Abuja. So then after that, we're going to be hearing for Omolego Nandi. And I am also looking forward to the sessions today. Then we have a closing thought by Coach Sam, the one and only octopus, because the multi-talented man has to brace us with his presence today. But it's not just a one-day event. It's a two-day event. What to expect tomorrow. And tomorrow is, we have a couple of speakers again. We have Abel Dawer for 10 a.m. to 10:45. But please come on time so that exactly 10 a.m. we have the speaker on stage ready to engage with you. And please, if you are in the house, Aisha Adams, say Owa and Aisha so that I know that you are in the house and that we are ready for you. Then we have a break. We like giving you breaks because please stretch. Everybody stretch a little bit wherever you are listening from. Stretch. And then we're going to have a break. Then Nanboy Godfrey, the first person to tell us Owa, is our second speaker tomorrow. Can you imagine that? And I'm sure it will be amazing to have him also. Then we're going to hear from the Seka Africa COO, the amazing, the one and only, the beautiful Stella. And we have Nafisa Mohammed Buba. Then we'll have a short review of something I wanted to be part of, and that is marketing without a budget and brand community masterminds. If you're not in the mastermind, masterminds are fantastic ways for you to engage with people. I would say join the mastermind, be part of it. And if you're an OSP member and you're not active, let us learn to engage. Why did we build a community called OSP? Why did we bring people together? Sometimes you're in a community and you have not even engaged with any single person in that community. We're supposed to rub our minds together, learn from each other, and grow together. The reason we are not doing this alone, because most entrepreneurs are alone, but when you come to a platform like this, don't just learn and go away. Engage with people. See, those that in Abuja meet together. If you're in the WhatsApp group, good. Drag other people that are not here now. We should all have accountability partners that when we're attending anything and they are not here, we say, you are not here yet, or you're joined. Pull people out, and you'll be surprised that something you need, somebody else has it just because you've intentionally built a relationship. And I think since I have the chair, I'll talk a little bit about that and how it has helped me in my own practice. It may come to you as a shock, and tell me if you're shocked. Use the reaction if you're shocked. But I'm an introvert. I am an introverted introvert. That's what I call myself. I actually like myself more than any other person in the world, and I like being on my own. However, I realized that being an introvert is not a problem. And when you are in a community and you find people that you can thrive with, connect with, and have a platform where we can come and learn and from these wonderful people. From January, February, March, April, May, we've had amazing people. And I have been building meaningful connections, and I want you to do that. So I will say, have your pen and paper ready today. That's one thing I always tell people to have whenever they are in any learning or they have any opportunity to learn. Have your questions ready. Don't leave here without asking those questions. Show support for the speakers. We are one community. If someone is speaking, encourage the person. Don't just encourage the person because you're saying, oh, when it's my own turn, people will encourage me. Encourage people because they need your support. Don't think about what's the need for me today. Think about what can I learn, how can I support, and how can we grow as a community. So community building, community mastery, community bonding is very, very important to us. So I'm just going to go to the chat and see. Oh, we have two Abuja people in the house. Jumoke and Morayo from Abuja. Please let me know if Aisha is around so we can start in 6 minutes with her. So please let me know. And if she isn't, could we just get her attention so that she comes on the call with ease? And if you communicate with me on WhatsApp, I will know, unless you send me a message directly. But anyway, let's continue the conversation. In the chat, let me know, have you built any meaningful relationship with anybody in this community that you did not know before joining the community? Let me know in the chat. I will share my own story, but I want to hear from others. I want to read from others. Apart from Owa, tell me, have you made any connection with anybody in the chat? And while we're doing that, let us know what you do, what industry you are in, so that you might find someone that needs you. Like I would say I'm a content creators coach and I'm a productivity coach. Someone else could be doing something else that I want and I could connect with the person. So it's about building meaningful connections and ensuring that nobody is left out. We want all of you to try. We want everybody to work together. Now, these monthly sessions, if you've not signed up for any, if you contact the team, they will sign you up for the month, because I'm sure the new slots for June have already been decided. They're held once a month, and we want every single person to be part of it. So my name is DK Jonah. I am one of the members of OSP. I am a productivity coach, but I also am your host for today. So I'm your anchor. My job is to support the people speaking. They'll be speaking on topics and speaking on things that have to do with us improving the way we get things done, improving the way we see society, and sharing their own perspective about what they do. OBK, please let me, your team, Seka, please let me know if she is in the house so that I know how we are doing this.
She's not
okay,
trying to get hold of her. As soon as we do, we'll let you know.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. And if she's not here, what we will do while we're waiting for her, I'm going to put Simseka Africa on the spot, is we're going to have a little chat about OSP, and then so that we can tell people what they are missing by not participating, what we have done so far from January to now. So I'm giving you a little bit of room to start thinking of what to say, but the events we host regularly, all those other things that they can gain from. Most of us have not gone to the website in a long time. All those little mini things that we can benefit from. So Team Seka, give me a thumbs up if you are ready to be put on the spot when it comes to that. Okay, so the Pan-African webinar for the May edition has officially started. 10 minutes. Oh, Team Seka, I love that. We're 10 minutes in, and in 5 minutes time, 2 things are going to happen. Either of these 2 things. One, I'm going to have a chat with the team about what we have done so far and what you can still gain. And then secondly, I am going to either have a chat with Aisha if she is available, and then she will be able to teach us and move us forward. So whichever way, we have got you covered as usual. We don't leave you stranded. We're here to support you. Now, we talked a little bit about community, and I said, so are you saying nobody here has made any connections in this community? Then we have to remedy that. We definitely have to remedy that. We have to ensure that members of this community are connecting with each other and are taking the best advantage of the platform that we have. As someone that focuses on branding and giving people visibility, I always tell people there are a couple of things you should do as a brand, because everybody here has a brand. And I'll give you a little thing that you think you should do when you are in a community. Have your elevator pitch ready, so people know exactly who you are, what you do, and how you can help them. And you ask yourself, if you have any product or anything, 5 whys. Why should people work with you? Answer that question to your best of your ability. Why should they pay the price that you are saying? And don't just say, it's because I don't charge like other people. No, we're giving people something of value. Everybody that is part of this community is exceptional, and exceptional people present themselves exceptionally, but most importantly, they create something exceptional that anybody that looks at it will not question it. But you have to know for yourself, why should they pay the price that you've asked for? Next one I will say is, why should they pay you now? We have to learn how to create a sense of urgency, even within the community. Why should I connect with you? Even if it's for a collaboration, give me a reason. So all I'm saying is this: if you take anything from these conversations that we're going to have today, to set yourself up for success and to maximize the platform that you are on, you need to know why people should pick you, why they should pay the price that you've asked them for, why they should pay now, sense of urgency. I'll tell you the other 2 things later, so that I know that if you have taken notes, you would remind me as the audience. Let's strike a deal. You remind me and say, wow, DK, you said you're going to give us 2 other whys that we need to answer in order for us to be exceptional and maximize any platform that we are on. 2 more things. So I've given you 3 whys. And if I have to give you the other 2, you have to participate. So you have to tell me the first why I have given you. And after we come back from this conversation, because Team Seka Africa is getting ready to come on stage with me, after we've done this conversation with Team Seka, we can then go in and look at other reasons why people should pay you, what they pay you. And you have to be able to answer that why question 10 questions deep. It shouldn't be in your head. Let's learn to move things from our head onto paper. Because if we're just thinking, oh, I know this thing already, I know this thing already. No, it's not enough for you to know it. But when you have what I like to call brand clarity, you are able to position your brand in a way that it is so clear what you do that others are recommending you for them. So, Team Seka, are you ready? Okay, so Team Seka, are you ready? I'll give them a couple of minutes. So I would like your camera on wherever is coming with me. You're muted in case you're speaking. Okay, I was just thinking that probably you were speaking and you didn't know we couldn't hear you.
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. I was trying to get hold of our first speaker. 1 minute, 1 minute.
Okay. All right. So they're trying to get a hold of the speaker, but if they don't get hold of the speaker, we will have our conversation. All right. So while the speaker is getting ready, because I think she had a little emergency, so we'll give her time to come, but let's chat a little bit. Are you ready? I'm putting
Yes,
you on the
I
hot
am
seat.
ready.
I'm putting you on the hot seat. On the hot seat. So welcome to OSP Hot Seat. We have a new session called OSP Hot Seat. Welcome. So nobody knows you here.
Thank you.
Nobody knows you. So you're going to have to introduce yourself to us.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Stella Onwoche. I am the Chief Operating Officer at SECA Africa. What do we do at SECA Africa? We do a lot of things. So we're a combination of a business arm and a behavioral arm. So yes, that's it about SECA.
Fantastic. So we have the business arm and the behavioral arm, and I absolutely love that because sometimes some people are not thriving in their businesses because there are certain things, there are certain behavioral gaps that are not being filled in the industry, and it's impacting entrepreneurs. Everybody is drained. So SECA is giving you a balanced diet. So say we take care of the business part, so you're fantastic. But in addition to that, we take care of the behavioral part, which now prepares you for success. So we're going to talk a little bit about the behavioral part, but we won't go too deep into it.
Okay.
So tell us a bit about why you believe, because I've given my own thing of why I believe the behavioral aspect is important. Why do you believe the behavioral aspect is vital for every business owner?
So we tend to project into our businesses. So you have a disorder or you have you are affected by stress.
Okay, so could everybody please stay muted while we're having this conversation? Thank you very much. Please
So you
continue,
see
ma.
that lots of businesses or a lot of business owners project their traumas into their businesses. So it becomes a toxic space for the people who work there. So the employees are constantly stressed. The employees constantly think that is about them. But the business owner needs to do a lot of introspection because most of us carry a lot of traumas that we're not even aware exist. We're not even aware are there. So we need to do a lot of assessments and a lot of introspections to identify these traumas, to identify these disorders, to identify these things that could be very toxic for the workplace and for the people you work with, right?
I like that. And
It's because
yes, please continue.
yeah, so a lot of businesses and their values are usually tied around the founders, right? So you see a business whose founder is very introverted, the business tend to take that personality. So you see people in that business, you see an extroverted person in the business appears to be true personality of the business. Yeah, so every founder needs to understand what they're going through or what they're dealing with. They need to be aware of themselves. They need to be self-aware to understand or to recognize stress, to recognize trauma, to recognize the issues that can be projected into the business and then onto all the employees in the business.
Okay, I absolutely love that. And because I think it's important, I'm an introvert, like I said. And one time I just realized I was attracting only introverts. And I'm like, okay, we need an extrovert on this team, please. We can't all be calm and everything. And what you just said, because most of them were trying to be like me, but I'm like, no, we have a brand and we have a way to talk about it. That's the brand identity. That's not my identity. So I like the fact that you talked about behavioral aspect. But I think we should move the focus to founders and let's see how this conversation we are having can help founders to thrive, to deal with the things that they're dealing with, and to be able to ensure that their business outlives them. Because most of the people listening to OSP members are founders, right? Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll call them, so them are DIY entrepreneurs. I call DIY entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs that do everything themselves. So they are doing it themselves. They don't want to outsource. So I think we could have a couple of questions. And if you also want to ask me questions, you could also ask me. That would help everybody listening today to understand how to make a business work. And sometimes I will share my struggles and then you will be able to give us responses. How does that sound?
I'm ready.
I love this. I love the challenge. Can you see what the hot seat is doing? We should bring more people on the hot seats. This is our first official hot seat. So let us think about this. You emphasize the importance of self-awareness for founders. So I want us to look at a couple of things. We may change it as we go, but one will be how the founder can take care of their mental health, how they can run their business without running themselves out or burning out and learning to delegate, and how they could diversify their teams. But let's talk about self-awareness more, because that starts us with the behavioral aspect. And I want to put it this way, please, we want you to engage. As a founder, if you have questions about running your practice, running your business, or doing anything that you believe will be, you need answered, this is the right place to do it. What I've observed from most founders is most founders are lonely. Most founders are frustrated. I'm speaking for myself also. Auntie, sister, it's not easy. It is not easy. Oh, it is not easy. My team is fully remote. So sometimes it's exhausting because you find yourself working 7 days a week. So you resigned to build a practice that could make you work less, but you're working 24/7. So the question comes to this. I don't know if you're still with me, Stella. If you're still with me, you can give me a thumbs up. So,
Yes.
So founders are struggling. Do you agree with that statement? What do you think about what I have said so far about founders? Then I will ask my question.
Yes, I agree with you that a lot of founders who are not self-aware are struggling. A lot of them who are not aware of what they're going through, how to deal with the particular issue, or how to deal with the diversity of staffing are struggling. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So most founders that are dealing with this issue of diversity are struggling. What would you say, if we could just answer only these questions that would help founders before we go to our next speaker, what would you say founders need to start doing more of and need to start doing less of in order to build a successful system or a successful business that thrives? What will your advice be to founders?
Okay, so I will come from the behavioral part. I'd say as a founder, self-awareness, be big on self-awareness, right? Understand who you are, where you're coming from, and then of course what you want in your business. So you're not taking it out on everybody in the business. Understand that there are different people in the system that process your information differently.
Yes.
You must understand the people in your system or the people that report directly to you and how they process your information, right? So that they are not taking your information out of context.
Okay, true.
Also recognize that stress is a good thing and can also be very deadly.
Stress is a good thing, but can be deadly. One second. Whose audio is not audible? Because I'm hearing your audio is not audible. So let's do a mic check quickly. Please let us know who you cannot hear clearly so we could increase the volume. And we are able to help you because we got 2 messages saying that it's not audible. So I just want to know. Can you let us know in the chat so I will know if Stella and I can continue? Can someone on the team let us know if you can hear us? It's audible now. Oh, fantastic. Thumbs up for you. Sorry for the interruption. So we are talking about helping founders, yes, deal with stress. Please continue.
So as a founder, it's okay to want to do everything. I want to get everything because you have set out goals for yourself for the year, for the period, and then you want to make sure that you achieve these goals. Recognize stress. Stress is a big thing. Stress is a big thing, and then it's taking out a lot of people, right? Recognize stress. Tell yourself that it is okay to rest once in a while.
Okay.
Rest is good. Yes, rest is good. Recognize the kind of stress you need. So there's the eustress, there's the chronic stress. Identify what kind of stress am I feeling now? Is it the chronic one? Do I need to rest? Do I need to be admitted? Or do I just need rest? Do I need to take a walk in the park? Do I need to drop my devices and drop every other thing? Do I need to tell the team that I need
All right, so
preach?
okay, she's back.
So a lot of us preach breaks, but we don't really take breaks. So are you a person who preaches what you do? Do you think that taking breaks is healthy? So as a founder, recognize stress. Before, stress, a few years ago, WHO said stress was the #1 killer. Now, stress is not just the #1 killer. Stress is the underlying killer. So the first major underlying source of a founder's ailment or stress is stress.
Interesting. I didn't even know WHO gave that statement, because I always say creativity comes from a place of rest. And most of us don't schedule rest at all.
Yes.
And we don't even schedule anything at all. We just keep moving and moving and moving. And I always say that if it's not on my calendar, forget it, I'm out. So when someone calls me and says, I need this, I'm like, okay, let me see if I can fit it in, but I must fit it into my calendar. Because what I discovered when I started was I was just doing, and this is the thing with entrepreneurship, you would let me know if I'm wrong. You don't have a routine, you don't have anything, you just wake up and do. And sometimes you're starting from scratch all over again, because you've not built a system to help you to even improve your business and thrive. So because you've hammered one day, you realize that you're not repeating that success. I don't know if you found entrepreneurs that they make it once, twice, all of a sudden there's a decline. And the decline is because they are so stressed out, they are not even allowing themselves the creativity to think anymore. What do you think about what I just said?
So as a founder, having a proper structure is key. It doesn't matter how small your business is. It doesn't matter if you're the only person on that organogram. It just means you're creating a structure that any other staff you employ or any other person who comes into the system can fit into. So you think that you're just a founder who just started off, say, 5 years ago. It is okay to create structures and systems. You do it in such a way that anybody who walks into the system can fit in somewhere. So we're not just saying, oh, you're just an intern. An intern to what? What is this person really doing? Okay, do you have job descriptions for the people in the system? For the interns, do you have a set out rule and goals? Do you have descriptions for what they should do every day? And then how do you measure their performance? So founders need to understand that they can't do it by themselves, right? For a business to outlive you, it means that you're not doing it alone. First, businesses, research says that businesses die in the first 5 years. How old is your business, right? How old is your business? Say you've done one-man business for, not one man, you've done a lone business, a solo business for 10 years, and you think you're actually doing business because you're making a lot of money. So for you to say that you are running a system, it must be something that can outlive you. It must be something that you can step away from. In the course of 1 year, you can step away from your business in 1 week, and the business should run. So the business should function. So there should be a system. Every founder should work towards creating a system that can work even in your absence.
Okay.
Right? So that you're able to take stress seriously, you're able to take rest seriously.
I like that. Take stress seriously, take rest seriously. I'll now ask, let me just say this, but see the economy. I just have to do something. I cannot not just do it. This person gave me money one time and she wants my daughter to work for me. So I have to bring her in. I can't just do it alone. I need to have an office. I need to have I need to have a secretary so that when people see me, they will think that, yes, they can do business with me. All right, so I'm giving you a scenario with a lot of little things. We're both improvising, and please, people, show us love. Show Seka Africa love. They're giving you wonderful hot seat moments with the CEO. Do you know how much you pay to sit with her too? And nobody is asking questions. Let me continue with my own questions, but please ask us questions. Okay, so I've given you a scenario now.
So I'm going to use my story to answer that question.
Sure.
When we started off with Coach Sam in 20, so Seka officially started training as Soccer officially in 2016. So when we started, it was just Coach Sam and I for a few months. Then Tunde Rema joined.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So when we started, we didn't need to own 5 duplexes. We just had a little space where he could have his meetings. Of course, we had an external space where we held our trainings. So you don't necessarily have to work yourself out to get a space. We're not saying that we need you to build structures. Structures does not necessarily mean the physical building. What we're saying is, let it be on paper that this is how this should run. This is how this business makes money. This is what we do every day. This is how we do it every day. So you don't have to have a secretary so there are options now. You have the option of a VE. You have the option of a virtual assistant. You have the option of having someone who comes in or who comes into your space 3 times a week. You have the option of outsourcing your calls. So there are so many ways. If we keep saying that the economy is hard, I need to make a lot of money. What about in the course of making that money, you fall, and then when you're rushed to the hospital, you develop a stroke? Are you going to make that money? As much as it looks like the economy is bad, the economy is not helping us. What we would advise is balance is key, right?
Yes.
Saying that you're going to have a work-life balance. No, because we spend most of our productive years in the workplace. What we say is find a way to integrate your personal life with work. Find a way to integrate it. So it is work-life integration. Find a way to ensure that, because what I term stressful might not be stressful for you. Someone said to me that I thrive on stress. And then, yes, sometimes it might sound like
it a lot. People say it a lot.
So it might sound like a bad thing. Initially, I think it was a bad thing for people to say that I thrive on stress, but I realized that some personality types actually thrive on stress.
Yes.
So you must be aware of your personality type, what you can do and what you can becomes chronic for you. And then regular medical check is very important, especially for founders. You are awake in the night, you're thinking, you're strategizing, you're re-strategizing, you're unlearning, you're relearning. Every workshop you're there, you're trying to make money, you're trying to connect. Remember to prioritize your health. And then because there is no mental health without physical health. Prioritize your health.
T-shirts with that. Honestly, Seka Africa should do a T-shirt or a tote bag with that. And that is such a fantastic quote. There is no mental health without physical health. We don't think about that, because think about it. When your car is misbehaving, you go for MOT. We don't go for the MOT for the body. We don't. We just keep going and going and going and going. I absolutely love that quote. Thank you so much I'm still in it. You can see I'm even using pen to paper to write it. Thank you so much. Okay, so we have a question. Ibrahim Mohammed Bello, thank you so much for your question. He said, how will you match your organizational goals vis-a-vis the regulatory guidelines, especially in Abuja? AMAC, to be specific, because they are killing startups. All right. Okay. So
as a startup, we also would not say we are there yet, right? We have them here every day. They are knocking at the door. And what we do is, because we know what they want. We know what is obtainable in the course of a year. We make provisions for that. So you manage your expectation. You don't expect. So because there is because they are trying to meet a target, you are trying to meet a target, you factor them into your system. You know that AMAC will come in the course of the year, right? AMAC is going to come, say, once or twice in the course of a year to say you have not paid this. Before you rent a space, ask the owner of the building or ask the owner of the space who paid the tenement rents. You know, in Abuja, the lines are very low. You don't know who pays the tenement rate. So you as a tenant have to probably take a stand and say, oh, I don't pay the tenement rate. But before you know the underlying terms and conditions, am I the one paying the tenement rate? So what I would say is factor AMAC into your yearly plan because they will come. As a startup, what do they want? You have a space, or you're operating from home, or you have a billboard at the junction. What do they want? What kind of agreements can I reach with them? So it's just managing your expectation so that you're not burning out every time you see them. I almost walked them out of my office the last time they strolled in here. So they come in clusters of a lot of people.
Really?
Come in and then it sits in your space, and you know how they change the ambience of your space, and you're not.
Oh, that's okay.
So that is how much they know. You as you know better, so you're going to act better. You're going to put expectations of them, and then you're going to factor them into your yearly goal because you know that AMAC will come. What do they want every year? That way, you're protecting yourself, protecting your mental health, and then of course, protecting them. Because you cannot say that you have been emotionally intelligent if in the course of a conversation, you're not preserving yourself, you're not preserving the other party, and preserving what binds you. What binds you and AMAC is Abuja. So you're going to preserve the place where you are, preserve them, and preserve yourself. But remember that you are very important in the scheme of things.
Okay. I love that. I had no idea they could do that. See, this is why we should have conversations. But thank you so much for your question. I believe that we help others. You said, like you said, they come in clusters with 13 consultants. We come with all bogus claims. I think I don't know much about AMAC, but I would like to add this. Know your numbers. Keep your records. Keep them digitally and physically. Create what I'll call I will change it from knowledge management system, but it's like building a second brain so that when you want anything, you can retrieve it. AMAC 2023, start filing it properly digitally. So by the time they come with your claims, like we young people will say, you have your receipts, you have everything to show. Find a system, because what she was talking about is, Stella has talked about building a system. There are different types of systems you can build. A knowledge management system is for you to manage what you're learning, what you're doing, so you don't have to repeat things all over again. SOPs is the way you work, so that when people come or you just employ somebody easily, they need to work on something. But you also have to have your financial management system. So it's not, oh, we've paid this, it's in our bank statement. No. You need to have your proof so that you can cross-reference what has been paid and you don't start paying things 2 or 3 times. Keeping records is important. So don't just file it, come up with a system, label them properly. The aim is for you to retrieve it when needed. You know, and in the community, if you are not sure, like now, if I just moved to Abuja, I wouldn't have known this. So there are some things that we don't know when you're starting your business. But if they've come to you once and you think, oh, for the next 10 years, they will not come, and you share something like that in the community, others will tell you, they are coming again. Oh, so be prepared. This is not a one-off. It's not once and done. I will not quote this because this is going somewhere, but going to the chat and see what somebody just said about AMAC. People have gone through stress, and part of stress management, I believe, is laughing. Come together and laugh about your stress. But when it's happening at that point in time, you're not even thinking about breathing. You are just upset and they just ruin your day. But at that point in time, if something like that has happened, they've disrupted you. How would you encourage this entrepreneur to get back into the flow of business? What would your recommendation be for someone that has gone through that stress and is just drained completely?
So, you see these AMAC people, they are major triggers. you cannot, I would say, what is the meaning you're reading to their visits? Meaning nothing means anything. NLP say nothing means anything except the meaning you give to it. What is the meaning you're giving to their visits? Are you thinking that these guys are here to stress me, or these guys are here to frustrate my business? What is the meaning? The most flexible person in a room is the most powerful person, meaning that we can have a conversation. If I need to visit their office, I'll go visit their office. But what is the meaning you're giving to their visits? So that you're not burning out unnecessarily. These guys are out there for the numbers. Like somebody said in the chat room, well, you can go back there to see it. So that's comments they made in the chat room. You know that comment. That's actually what they are. So they are out there.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. I don't want to understand, but we have to bond together and talk about these things because it is real.
So you know what this does? Because you as a founder, you already feel stressed. You feel stressed. The economy is stressing you, your staff or your staff aren't understanding you. You feel that there's communication somewhere. Your finances, it's not adding up. So the stress is coming from everywhere. So you're firing from all cylinders. And then these AMAC people now decide to walk into your office with their conglomerates. Like,
but do they send okay, don't worry, let's not talk about AMAC.
They don't send anything. You don't send anything. When they come, they issue you a receipt and they tell you that you're paying for this, and that. So it is now it is the kind of conversation you're going to have with them that will determine if you're moving forward or not. So you must recognize stress. You must recognize that these people are not my issue. They have targets. I have my target.
Okay,
so
but they're doing their job.
Yes. So how do I manage this conversation? You must know what to say. Say the things that will preserve you and preserve them. That way, they might not come back to you in another month, but you are preparing for them. You're preparing to pay probably what you negotiated. Because with AMAC, honestly, you can.
Is it not just a fixed price? And
well,
so you can pay on their website, or you can pay something like that.
Well, so we thought there's an account number, but yes, it can. They usually, the people who do the legwork sometimes in prices. So you're seeing the letter and they're telling you, no, that's not your space. That's not what your space looks like. This is what your space looks like. So, yes. So this with AMAC, it depends on, it's your conversation with them that will determine if you're moving or you're not moving. Right. So manage your expectations of them. Manage your expectations of them. Preserve yourself. Yes, preserve yourself.
I'm just honestly, doing business is not for the faint-hearted.
It's not for the faint-hearted.
Doing businesses, I want you to encourage these people that have decided to step out in faith, to think about their dreams, taking the dreams to reality. Sometimes they need encouragement. I need encouragement. I don't know about them. They say they don't know. Since they're not answering, so they don't need encouragement. I want encouragement. Because this founder journey, some days I'm like, I'm going to get a job. This is, I'm not doing again. But if these people are in broad daylight extorting people, there are different people trying to extort you. I read recently that Domino's has lost over ₦1 billion from people stealing from them. Founders, companies, doing business is frustrating. So let's spend the next 5 minutes thinking about ways we can support them, but let's start with giving them encouragement. Hey, Rosemary needs encouragement too. See, Rosemary is my friend now. Rosemary needs encouragement too. Please. I'll see you.
I would say, so I would say, oh, okay. You have to go physical, okay.
You have to go physical. That's what you will say.
It is still how you have the kind of conversations you have with them. Remember, the most flexible person in the room is the most powerful.
Yes.
Everything is workable, right? Everything is workable. So for the founders, I would say, take it one day at a time. Recognize stress. When you feel it, take a break. right? Remember that you're building except you're not building something that you want to outlive you. But remember that you're building a business that should outlive you.
Mm-hmm.
And they want you to stay longer. So that means you have to recognize stress and deal with stress.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that you are important in the scheme of things. Because if you're not there, the 1-2 people you pay, the 3 people you pay will be out of jobs. So remember that you're very important in the scheme of things. When you feel stressed, take a break.
When you feel stressed,
Take breaks. Take breaks as often as you can. It is okay. It is healthy. It is healthy to tell yourself that I'm going to take it one moment at a time, because one day might be too much. I'm going to take this one moment. I'm going to process my emotions. I'm going to process where the stress is coming from. Prioritize your mental health. Remember that when it's not about you. When you are throwing a tantrum in the business, it's not about your employees. Remember to prioritize your mental health and stress. Recognize stress. Identify if it is a chronic stress, it is acute, or it is eustress. Is it healthy? Because as far as stress is concerned, we need a daily dose of stress, right? Every day. So stress is a propeller, or can be a propeller. Yes, stress can be a propeller, can also be very detrimental to your health. So choose what you want today. But I would say choose to identify what stress you're currently experiencing and how to deal with it.
Okay, fantastic. I like that, because we talked about stress, we've talked about certain things, but let's talk about running the business now.
Okay.
So I have ideas, I have things I want to do. What would you say are the skills that every founder should develop? So somebody is just starting now, I've come to you and you're trying to, talk to me. Stella, this problem, this thing. So I finally have decided I want to start my business. I've been doing things, I've been making like £1 million a day. And I want to move from just having it as an hobby to this thing. What are the skills you think I should develop? Then we have another question.
So off the top of my head, I would say, understand how to read your numbers. Understand how to read your numbers and understand how to keep your numbers. That's very important, because lots of us are in the business to make money. Even NGOs make a bit of profits here and there, right? So understand your numbers, understand how to keep them. If you don't have that understanding, please outsource it.
Good.
So that you're not going too far into the business without knowing your numbers or keeping your numbers, right? Then I would say emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is very important because it's a life skill, right? It is the emotional intelligence takes you to a place, and emotional intelligence keeps you in a place, right? So I'd say emotional intelligence is very important as a founder. Again, self-awareness. Self-awareness is important. See, I'm big on self-awareness because I teach a lot of personality types, right?
Yes.
I do teachings on personality. You see, okay, let me bring you home. If I start on a panel, or if Coach Sam interviewed me before I came in, I'm not sure he would employ me. Yes. So I talk so much.
I don't think so.
But as far as an introverted person is concerned, I talk too much. So he wouldn't have employed me if I came in through interviews. But as a founder, keep an open mind. Know that if you have personality types with others, your business will suffer, because everything you suffer, the business will suffer.
Yes.
Everything you suffer, the business will suffer. So self-awareness is very important.
You keep saying things that I think should be on a t-shirt. Everything you suffer, the business will suffer. You should just sit down and be creating things for t-shirts. Everything you suffer, the business will suffer. Please, everybody write that in the chat so that you know that I'm serious. That is remarkable. That is remarkable. Let's shift gear a bit because we've got just 10 minutes. Someone asked a question because of you said everything you suffer, the business will suffer. How do you handle your emotions when your expectations and realities are not matching, especially when you have the requisite capacity in your field?
How do you handle your emotions? Your expectations are very high. So I'll say, start by saying, adjust your expectations, right? Everything that is outside of you is a trigger. Everything outside of you is a trigger, right? So for you to manage, okay.
Don't worry, we'll
Abo,
continue.
so
That's fine.
everything outside of you is a trigger, and that is not within your control. Anything you cannot control, release, right? Anything you cannot control, release. You don't have to try to solve every problem. You don't have to try. So as a founder, be open to options A to Z. Don't leave your options tight. Open up your options. There are a lot of options. If it doesn't work out this way, there are other ways it can work out. But adjust your expectations of things. Adjust your expectations of people. Adjust your expectations of situations. Adjust your expectation. That's what I would say as a founder. Adjust your expectations.
Adjust your expectations. I like it. Somebody is still writing everything. Rosemary, I say I have a best friend on this call. Everything you suffer, your business will suffer. Okay, what kind of stress can someone...
emotions. Okay, so
okay, emotions, yes.
So as far as neuroscience is concerned, there are 3,000 emotions available to humans now. We have the 2,000 of them are negative bias, meaning that if I ask on this call, is anger a bad thing? A few people would say yes, and a few people would say it isn't, right? Anger can be functional or dysfunctional. So every emotion can be functional or dysfunctional. It is in the usage, right? What do you use your emotions? How do you use your emotions? If I ask you now, what do you feel? Are you able to identify what you feel correctly? Are you able to say, okay, I actually feel elated, or I actually feel sad? Are you able to use the right vocabulary for the emotion you're feeling now? Identify what you're feeling part time. If you identify your emotions, you're able to navigate it. You're able to tame it. So we say name it to tame it. So I would say name the emotion you feel part time. If you need to do an emotions diary, please do an emotions diary. Track your emotions every hour. And then at the end of the day, check your predominant emotion. And then ask yourself, why do I feel this? Or why did I feel this throughout the day? Why did I feel mostly sad throughout the day? Ask yourself the hard questions and provide answers. That way you can move from point A to point B, right? Identifying your emotions means you're aware of the vocabularies, you're aware of the names. And then you're also, if you cannot find the meaning, if you feel a thing and then you're not able to find, go on the internet. You would find the meaning of that investing emotions. You must understand what you feel per time. That way you can control what you're feeling. That way you can navigate the emotion, right? So that's it about emotions. Then there's another question on stress.
Yes.
Say, what type of stress can someone look out for in a business? Of course, I know there are different types of stress. So of course, you're going to experience acute stress. Acute stress are those ones that come up. Or for instance, when DK said, come on the hot seat. that can actually be acute stress, right? But they're not long-term. They don't live long. They don't stay long with you. That's acute stress. So as a business owner, you look forward to having acute stress. And then, of course, it can come in periods. So it can be very periodic. But when it begins to affect the way you relate with people, when it begins to affect your health, you notice that, oh, there's this back pain that has refused to go. Oh, there is this ankle pain that has refused to go. Suddenly you become because stress can be very cancerous, right?
Yes.
So it's either you're coming up with things that doctors are not able to find solutions to. You've gone for CT scan, you've gone all the scans in the world you have done, but they are not able to identify. Please take a break. Take a break. Understand that this can be chronic stress.
Yes.
This can be chronic stress. Sometimes stress can come off as ulcer, right?
Mm.
So it can come off as a lot of things. Understand that you stress is positive because it's a propeller. It helps you. Getting off your bed is stressful, but you need a bit of that, yes, to
Yes.
get up and then make money. Just remembering that you have bills to pay is stressful enough. So that is healthy for a business owner. But when it becomes chronic, when it begins to affect everything, like it begins to affect your physique, it begins to affect your mental health.
Yeah.
Please take a break and visit a professional. So you're
Okay.
going to doctors or you're going to the psychologists.
All right.
Don't let it wait.
Thank you so much. Honestly, I've had an amazing time. So we have one more question and then I'll ask you the last one. Someone said, do you have a yardstick for deciding the monthly salary you pay to the employees you hire as a startup in the face of trying to bring your business up to speed?
So
I think
answer that
that's a long one.
from
Yes.
the
Thank you.
HR perspective, right? I would say, what is obtainable in the market for that skill that you're looking for? What is obtainable in the market? Do you want to pay at par, or you want to pay higher, or you want to pay a bit lower? So the percentage lower that you're willing to pay has to be determined by you. But you must understand that there is a fixed amount, whether said, written or unwritten, that is obtainable within that skill set that you have or you're looking at employing. So know what is obtainable in the market. Ask yourself, how many percent lower do I want to pay in the first couple of months? But this has to be communicated with the person you're bringing on board. So you're bringing somebody on board. For instance, I would say that when I started with Stopcar, before we became Seka, when I started with Stopcar, what I was receiving, so I was receiving something else somewhere else when Coach Sam said, come on board, I'm going to double it. Even the doubling was not something it wasn't obtainable in the industry. But with time, I grew because I knew that I wanted to be here. I knew that there was value. I knew that there was something I could do here. I knew that there was a way I could practice. So you must allow the employee the liberty to say, oh, I would take the job or I wouldn't. Because you have told them that in the next 3 months, I am likely to increase your pay by so percentage if you meet so criteria, or if you meet so yardstick. So there is no, I'm not going to say if you're employing an accountant, pay $1 million. No, I'm not going to say if you're employing an accountant, pay 100,000. No, what is obtainable in the market? Are you willing to pay at par or higher?
I like that. Thank you so much for coming on my hot seat. Everybody give Coach Stella a round of applause. Honestly, you made this conversation so easy. I'm not going to have time to do my recap before we go on our break. But we're supposed to go on a short break now before we come back for the next speaker. A few things that I took from this conversation that I think everybody needs to this is adjust your expectations. You kept saying that there are certain things that are not within your control. I took notes. I hope everybody was taking notes. You said there's no mental health without physical health. We need to take care of our mind and body, not just our body. And we need to understand our triggers, know your numbers, know that there are certain things that will come to distract you. Understand that stress, emotions are things that are pointing you to something. Where is the arrow pointing? And I know Stella said this, find time to write, find time to reflect. This is something that I do personally. I sit down with myself. I reflect 3 ways in a week. Beginning of the week, middle of the week, end of the week. Beginning of the week, what am I doing this week? Middle of the week, am I on track, or did some things distract me? How do I get back on track? End of the week, what am I doing this weekend? And everybody should have a system that works for you. So for our first hot seat, thank you, Stella. And I'm so excited. So we're going to go on a 10-minute break, but please, everybody stand up and stretch. Let's not sit down in one place, because computer some of us are like this 24/7. Shake your body small, stand up, stretch. I think Stella, we're going to have some music for 10 minutes, and then we'll be right back with our first guest of the night. Or if you like to call our second guest, because Stella, you are not representing Second Africa, you are on the hot seat. So you are our first guest of the night, and I want to say thank you for indulging me. All right, so we'll have a 10 minutes break and we'll be back at 8:10. See you all soon. Cheers.
Pass one day, we get lecture where Emeka dey there. In just dey concentrate, like say you mind dey there. Red na gimmicks, make we take no fear. The boy just dey strategize some skills and ideas. You don't see two eyes, they offload your handbag. When person pass, you can't define your school bag. They follow you, they argue. On top am, they brag. Now your own no gets label for the tag. Shut up, my friend, how you take no? If I finish with you, now your blood go dey flow. Bros, I beg now, I beg no be so. In fact, when I take the bag, I don't know. Thief my guy back, talk say him no. Thief, ole, carry am go. He say na him first time, I be no be so. Thief, ole, carry am go. When you hear breathe tire, your eye come clear. Thief, ole, carry am go. Carry gun, carry knife. Only you know the fear. Thief, ole, carry am go. See this man, sef. See as you cack for office, you dey form oga. Why your people them dey hiss? Na pen you dey take do magical tricks. You know they touch money, but money go dey miss. Your 5 accounts they don't full for Swiss. You dey chop and you think say them.
Maybe they get network problem. I don't know.
I'm not hearing what they're saying. I'm trying to follow a Zoom.
So we're on a 5 minutes
Yeah.
break.
Welcome.
Susan, I
I don't
said,
be waiting.
yeah, we're on a 5 minutes break. We'll be back at 8:10. So we just want people to stretch and we'll be back at 8:10.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. And we are back. Welcome back. So everyone should be joining us soon. And we have our first guest, our first speaker of the day joining us in a few minutes. So I've sent her a message and I look forward to having her. Stella, thank you for the braveness today. Thank you so much. I really did enjoy our conversation, as did everyone else. The questions were just coming. I was like, oh my goodness, this is wonderful. The Wordsmith, if you're in the house, I've sent you a message. Let me know, because your session should be starting in about a minute, and then Stella and I will leave the stage for you. I just want to know if your camera is working, if your microphone is working, so we do a mic check, and you are fine. Okay, someone else.
Hello, good
Hello,
evening.
good evening. How are you?
I'm fine.
Hey, welcome. Did you
Thank
set a timer for yourself? Or is that
No,
me?
they-
Yes, I set a timer before.
okay.
Ella, you may have to take charge for a few seconds. My Chrome is frozen and I can't seem to take off the sound. So give me a second. Let me see if I can do it.
Okay. So-
Technology, we love it. We hate it. But yeah. Hi, how are you?
Fine. You talking to me still?
Yes, so I'm back now. Still I'm back. I've solved it. I have rescued the day and technology did not defeat me at all. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure having you as a member of SECA Africa. And I can't wait to see what you're going to share with us. But let me tell people a little bit about you because I was like, wait, the host of the gravel. Hey, we're in trouble today, but in a good way. So today I have with me, and if I don't pronounce your name correctly, please let me know if I'm correct. But rather, why don't you just tell me the pronunciation so I can test your mic?
My name is Omelogo Nadi.
Omelogo Nadi. I love the way you pronounce the name. So today we have the beautiful, the one and only Omelogo Nadi. She is an
Good job.
educationist and a child nurturer. But she's multi-potential. As in she has multiple potentials. She is a multimedia consultant. And she has over 11 years practicing actively, not passively. She has not just been passive and sitting down somewhere. In Nigeria, with broadcast companies such as being a newscaster. She has written copy, a copy editor, a programs presenter, a producer, news correspondent, not just on radio alone, but also TV. That's why I said a multi-potentialite. We have with us someone that calls herself the wordsmith. When I heard that name, I was like, the wordsmith. It shows your mind is creative. So you spent a decade in channels and you were part of a show called The Gravel. And I could go on about everything you do with investigative reporting, content creation, which is my own thing, and multimedia production. But we have the honor of having you today for our Pan West Africa, I must have messed up the name, OSP May edition. Hi, how are you today?
Okay. Hello.
Oh, fantastic. I am excited to have you talk about effective communication and etiquette for people
You're
who
asking me
it's
how I
true.
am, then that's okay.
Yes, okay, yes, sir. Now you can hear me. So how are you today?
I am well at the moment, and that's fantastic.
That's
Yes.
good to hear.
I've
I don't want to
I've
take
been
so much of your time.
okay.
Yes,
All
you
right.
said you've been what?
No, let's
No,
let
it's not what you
that.
were saying. I'm just saying that if I continue, when I was reading
So
all, like I want to with you.
I was following silently though. I was following the CEO's presentation, Saka CEO's presentation, and then I saw Rosemary, saying we need support and we need encouragement. I need encouragement.
Yes, so we are encouraging every member of OSP is being encouraged by the community. That's why we have each other. That's why we have each other. We can't do it alone. Entrepreneurship, I know it's onepreneurship, but no, we don't want that here. We need support. Everybody needs support. Stop doing it alone. Reach out. And even if you want virtual orgs, we are sending you virtual orgs. I'm sending you a virtual org right now. And I think you are absolutely fantastic. So without further ado, I'm excited about your topic. Seriously, effective communication and etiquette. People who
I'm
work
glad.
with children. I have tried working with children. I gave up. So I want to learn. So the floor
Yeah,
is
I'm
yours. The floor
Okay,
is yours. Will you
so
be
I'm
presenting?
going to, am I,
Yes, that's what
thank
I'm
you very
asking.
much.
Will you be presenting? Do you need to share anything with us?
Yes, I have slides. Yes,
Okay, fantastic.
I have a slide.
Okay.
Is it able, is it possible
Yes.
for me to share?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so I use the share screen. No,
Are you able to share screen?
yes, let me
Okay, fantastic.
see. Can you see my
Yeah.
screen?
Yes, I can see you.
Can I see your slide?
Yes, I can see your slide.
Oh, yay, yay. I had to do
Excited.
some practice.
The floor is
Okay,
yours.
so, all right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you're listening. This presentation was originally prepared for educators. But then this will be the second time I'm making this specific presentation. The first time was strictly to educators. And one thing I found out was that the educators, they were teachers, both management staff, from the principal down to the least teacher in the school. I had a whole of more than 50 educators. And what I found out after that presentation was that the teachers who came to me did not come to me as teachers. They came to me as parents. And they kept saying, Madam, that thing you said, that thing you said. And they weren't saying it as teachers. And so I felt, and I realized something that so long as you have children in your space, there are things that are important for you to know. It makes you an educator. Having a child who you have to be responsible for. It means that as a parent, you're also an educator. As an aunt, as an uncle, you are also an educator. As a big sister, a big brother, you are an educator. So let's take this to be that this presentation is for everyone who has a child in their space, even if they are not directly responsible for them. And so with that as a background set, let's go. Once again, my name is Omelogo Nadi, and I'd like to be called the wordsmith and the children nurturer. All right. Let's see. Okay, so what is effective communication? When you have the ability to convey messages in a clear way, in an accurate form, and while doing that, you ensure that what you're trying to say, the intended message you're trying to give to the recipients of your message is understood. That is communication, effective communication. People can communicate, but ineffectively. Anything that causes a breakdown in communication is termed as noise. And so, for instance, if you are trying to pass on a message to some people or some other person, and you do not put it in a language that they understand, it is termed as noise. That's poor language or inappropriate language you have used to communicate your message to your recipients, the recipients of your message, becomes noise, which makes communication ineffective. And so effective communication requires that you say it clearly. You use the appropriate language for the recipients of your message. You put the information accurately. You ensure that it is relevant and it is appropriate for the level and for the group of recipients of that message. That is effective communication. Now, there are some key characteristics of effective communication. Now, there are so many of them, but there's some that are quite vital. And I have a few here, about 6 of them. So you have clarity. Is your message, what you're trying to say, is it clear? Is it easy to understand? Is it concise? Is it specific? Would somebody listen to you and not be in doubt what you're trying to say? Is it clear, free of ambiguity? Is your message accurate? Accuracy is important. Are your facts and figures in the message that you're giving, are they checked? Now, when it comes to this accuracy of information, you know that a lot of chaos is going on right now on the internet. There is a lot of misinformation going on right now on the internet, right? And so it's important that for communication to be effective, there has to be accuracy. Is it relevant? Does it address the needs, concerns, and interests of your audience? If they are children, in this case that we're addressing, are their needs and their concerns addressed by the information that you're putting across to them? That is what makes that information effective. That's what makes the communication effective. Are you able to give your full attention when you communicate? One of the biggest mistakes we make in communication is to think that our job is to give the information. But guess what? When you listen to people's feedback, which is the fifth characteristic of effective communication, when you listen actively to people's feedback to your information, the communication you're getting across, you will know whether or not your message has been appropriately decoded. If you do not listen, you would never be able to tell. If you do not encourage feedback, open dialogue, a space where you can address concerns and questions, it will be difficult to ensure understanding. It means that when you pass across an information which you hope to communicate with, you have to listen actively to ensure that other people get your own perspective and you get their own perspective. And when you listen for their feedback, it creates a room for you to know whether you need to re-encode your message. You need to change the language of the message. You need to change the format of the message, or you need to change the channel through which you have delivered that message. And then one of the most important things in communication that makes communication effective is non-verbal cues. You see, non-verbal cues, there is something that is very important to know. Communication is 93% of non-verbal cues. You see what I'm saying? The words that you can hear me say to you right now, the part that it plays in 100% of communication is just 7%. So these words that I'm saying that are coming out of my mouth are just take up 7% of entire communication and its effectiveness. The rest of what ensures effective communication, the 93%, is non-verbal communication. It goes in body language, facial expressions, the tone of my voice, my gesticulations, you know, the way I inflect my voice, whether I make it high pitched or low, when I want to actually get you to pay attention. See how I've reduced my voice. These are the things that take up 93% of entire communication and ensures its effectiveness. This is one of the most important characteristics of communication and making communication effective, all right? Now, what is etiquette? Now, I have some definitions here. It's a set of socially acceptable conventions, rules, guidelines that guide behavior in either a social setting, a professional setting, a cultural setting. So it means that etiquette goes across board, irrespective. There is family etiquette. All right. Etiquette can also be a wide range of practices and customs that dictate how individuals interact with others and conduct themselves. Etiquette can be domestic, it can be global, it can be international. So it could it could be applied in various situations. And these are a set of framework to help demonstrate respect, courtesy, and consideration towards others. Etiquette means that you create room to allow others to be, to ensure that you are checking that your boundaries are protected and other people's boundaries are protected. Etiquette can go across cultural divides. Etiquette can go across professional divides. Etiquette can go across social divides. And at every setting, there are different rules that apply, okay? Now, what are the key aspects of etiquette? One of the first is consideration. There is need for you to ensure that other people that you have to deal with at every point are duly considered. For instance, if you are in, I'm presenting this in a hotel room right now, and I have someone that is with me right here in this hotel room. Two things had to happen. What's important? My presentation, but this person also needs to rest. And so there are two things that will be considered. Is it possible that I can lower the audio of my presentation? No, I cannot. Okay, does this person need to watch something that has audio? Can this person watch it outside here just to ensure that I have this is consideration. I hope you understand. This is clear as possible. But guess what? This is one of the biggest rules that we break here in Nigeria. It is my way or the highway. When you think about the way we behave, you find out that etiquette in our social setting is near zero. A lot of people do not consider. There is consideration. I use noise, the control of noise as this example. You imagine that people who want to enjoy, think of your neighbors. You have neighbors who love to play loud music, and sometimes they enjoy their music during the day. That's okay. It's coming to evening, they enjoy it. That's okay. But when it's nighttime and the music is still loud and you're trying to sleep, there is a breakdown in consideration. That is part of etiquette that is not paid attention to. Now, dress code. In every setting that you find yourself, there is a specific way that you ought to dress. That dress code also puts into consideration other people's sensibilities and the sensibilities of the place where you find yourself operating. All right, so this is in official setting, there is a dress code. If, for instance, you're going to get a job, you're going to apply for a job, you've been invited for an interview, and you're going to work in an organization as a marketer, the way you would dress would be different from someone who is going for an interview in a job where the person is going to be a laborer. Imagine someone who's coming to be a laborer and they need to go through a short interview and they come in suit and tie. That's wrong dress code. So these things are important for each person to know. Then punctuality. This is important. But the funny thing about punctuality is this. Let me give you a little instance. So there are different countries who believe, now I think it's between Italy, the Italians, and the French. I'm not sure which of them now. One of them believes that if you're coming for a meeting, if you are there, you have to be there in time. It shows that if there is going to be a business negotiation, it shows that you take it seriously, you want to deal, and then you are ready for whatever comes up. But now the other country believes that if you want to negotiate a business deal with someone, don't act desperate. Why show up in time? When you show up in time, everybody is under tension. So why show up in time? Let them show up in time. Keep them waiting, have them worry, and then when all their guards are let down, show up and negotiate quickly and carry the cheese and go. So what do you do in a case, for instance, where a Frenchman and an Italian are meeting? What do? What is the etiquette that should apply here? I'd like someone I'd like a contribution here, if possible. Anyone in the comment section who would like to contribute, or someone who can unmute their mic. I see I have 23 participants here. Is there someone who would like to say, if for instance, the Italians are the ones who come in late for the queue, and the French, I see someone's hand raised. DK, okay. Yes, please. Go on, DK. What do you think? Yes.
Yeah. So what was, could you just repeat the question?
So
You gave two
the
scenarios.
Italians, between the Italians and the French, right? Either one of these countries, they believe that for you to have if you have a business meeting, you have to be there on time. You have to, it shows you take it seriously. It shows you're ready to deal. It shows all manners of readiness, and but then on the other hand, the other party believes that, well, if you have a business deal to negotiate, why come in on time and get stressed alongside the other person you want to negotiate with? No, just relax, stay away, let them come in time, let them wear out, let their guards be let down by frustration. Then you come in fully prepared, take them unawares, take the cheese and go. And so my question is, if these two countries were to meet, what do you think should be the etiquette rule of punctuality that should be upheld?
I would say both of them have to reach an agreement, because everybody will feel that their own rule is right.
Let me make it easier. Let me make it easier. So they're meeting on French soil. What should you think? What do you think should happen?
If I was French, I would want to give consideration to my hosts, to the people I'm hosting, and I'm like, okay, I'm hosting you, so let's walk by your rules. So as a French person that is having the meeting, I'm like, okay, I want you to feel safe. You are coming to us. I know the way you act. So I will, as the host, follow your rules. I won't impose mine because I want to strike a good relationship with you. That I'm just telling my personal.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely. Okay, thank you very much for that contribution, DK.
You're welcome.
Now, the rules of etiquette goes according to this. When in Rome, be like the Romans. If the Italians, who have, for instance, this idea, are coming on French soil for a meeting, they have to be punctual. They are on French soil. You respect the rules of your host country, because you should be wary of offending them on their soil. Before you go to a place, you need to find out what the rules of engagement in that place are, so that you would behave accordingly in that space, so that you will not be found wanting. If you went to a place like Iran, for instance, and you go and visit a woman in her hotel room, you will be locked up. So you need to know ahead of time. Ignorance is not an excuse before the law. So the rules of etiquette demand that you know ahead of time what applies in any place you're getting into, so that you would behave appropriately. Okay, so moving on now from punctuality, respect is important in etiquette. This is also easily tied to consideration. What are the things that you do that are admissible by these persons? In things that, for instance, I am Igbo. In Igbo land, it is okay for you to say, reach out your hand to an elderly person and greet the person with a handshake and a slight bow of your head, or just bend a little so that they can pat you on the back, but you stand and then you can look them in the eye or in the face to greet them in Igbo land. In Yoruba land, it's different. To show respect, what do? You dobale. That dobale shows that you actually respect the person. So if an Igbo man is going to Yoruba land to go and marry a woman, would he stand and shake and be looking in the eye? Are you okay? Is something wrong with you? No. So what you're going to do, because you know that in Yoruba land, they love that form, that show of respect, you do it their own way. All right? So these are important. Politeness is an important aspect of etiquette. Be polite in the way you speak, in the way you give consideration to others. When you see a woman, there are places when you see a woman, you stand up and let them sit. You open the door for people coming behind you. That politeness, you say good morning or a slight nod when you're being spoken to. These are important rules of etiquette. Then there's technology etiquette. I paused again because in terms of technology etiquette, there is a whole lot of chaos online right now, and it is not just in Nigeria. There are, you know that right now, it looks as if people are so angry that when you put up a post anywhere across any social networking platform, you find people who the first and the only thing they say to you is a negative attack. It is not just in Nigeria, no, it cuts across the globe. And guess what? Right now, that measure that's only applied to the Western world, where you're seeking employment and your employers go online to see your activities, the kind of things you post, the kind of pictures, the kind of comments you make, the kind of people you mix up with. It's no longer just reserved for the Western world. It's here right now with us. People who want to employ you, even here in Nigeria, sometimes check out your social media handles to see the kind of person you are, because that unguarded place where no one knows you, that shows the core of what you are, because you feel that you can't be held to account. And so technology etiquette is absolutely necessary. When people call you on the phone, how do you pick up? How do you speak to people over the phone? How do you respond when spoken to? When you are writing emails, what is the tone of your words? How do you communicate? Right? These are aspects of technology etiquette. And then table manners. You know that, have you ever gone out for a function and you sit at a table and you see about 10 cutleries? You see 2 different sizes of forks, 3 different sizes of spoons, 2 different sizes of knives, 2 or 3 glasses, 1 goblet, 1 small. You see all these things. And have you ever wondered, what am I going to do with all of these things? This has happened to a good number of us. But guess what? You do not necessarily have to know all these things ab initio. And so what happens is you may need to ask questions. If you are aware that you're going to a dinner, for instance, in a place, in a company or in a country or in a different setting from where you are used to, if you know ahead of time, it will be important for you to ask questions ahead of time. How do they set their dinner table? What am I expected to do? Am I expected to speak while talking, or do we speak after dinner? Right? You ask questions. You find out how you can use the cutleries on your table and the goblets and the glasses and which plate is for what. You ask ahead of time. Should you not have asked ahead of time, perhaps because you didn't know, then when you get there, ask questions. Because only when you ask, it is better to ask and know than not ask and make mistakes. These are important things in etiquette that you can learn as you move along. And then, of course, communication is absolutely important, which takes us back to what we had talked about previously about effective communication. Your dessert spoon, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, your dessert spoon and all that you find confusing. 10 minutes more. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. That means I have to quicken this. All right then. So what is etiquette in communication? I was going to ask for people's definition of this, but being mindful of time now, let me just go on quickly. So etiquette in communication means that you communicate in an acceptable way with consideration, with politeness, and in guided ways that ensure that the message being passed across is not just clear, but is relevant in the moment and also effective without you being offensive. It means that good communication etiquette should include behaviors and strategies that will help you relay your information clearly without and while maintaining healthy and positive relationships with others. This is very important. When you communicate, etiquette demands that you maintain healthy relationships with others. And so, how can people who are in charge of children, how can they foster positive communication with the children in their care and ensure that they also create a supportive and conducive learning environment? Let's quickly go through some of the tips here. I have 6 of them. So it's important that you be respectful and empathetic. Now, respect and empathy are things that need to be applied from the foundational years and especially in the teenage years. These are the 2 most important levels of a child's life. The foundational years are the first 7 years. The first 2, then up to 7. These are the foundational years of every child. These are the most critical years of every child's life. It is in those first 7 years that you form who the individual will become, the bulk of it. And it is at this point in the child's life that when they go through some childhood experiences, these determine how they turn out as adults. Now, the teenage years are the years of the feeling, when the child is becoming quite aware of a lot of things, trying to unravel their emotions. So in these years, do you, as a person in charge of children, understand their perspectives? Are you able to give room for their own perspective to each situation? Do you acknowledge their feelings? It's very important to acknowledge the feeling of children, to allow them to express it. Acknowledgement does not mean agreement. You acknowledge their feelings, but you don't necessarily have to agree that those feelings should be applicable at the time, but acknowledge it and help them piece it up and handle it. Validate. Acknowledging helps you to validate these emotions. And each child has an individuality that must be allowed to blossom. What you do with each child's individuality is to find how to push up the strengths and turn the weaknesses into positivity. All right. Now, you also need at this point to use polite language. Are you able to pay attention to their self-esteem? Do you know that what you say to a child consistently becomes the voice the child hears in his head? And this voice they hear in their heads will determine how they see themselves, the self-image that they form, the image of themselves that they form, and how they feel, how their esteem is in their minds, and how they project their dignity before others. So it is important when you're handling children to be respectful and empathetic. Now, this is part of communication. Listen attentively. We listen to children, but we don't hear them. You're listening, but you don't hear what they say. Why? Because most times you are not listening to understand, you're listening to respond. Listen to children, pay attention to them, maintain eye contact with them, and try to understand what they're saying first, which takes us back to perspective. Do you see it from their point of view? Do you understand how they're trying to express it? This is important. Now be curious. Curiosity. When children tell you something, instead of first of all trying to say, okay, so why did it happen? Why would you be curious? So what happened? So we have to reprofile what we ask when children are sharing their experiences with us. Drop down the why question and bring up the what question. The why question, why did it happen? Why did you do it? Why did that thing go wrong? Is judgmental. The what question shows curiosity, shows genuine interest, and encourages expression. So what happened? Oh, mom, I lost my shoes. Instead of saying, why did you lose your shoes? Say, what happened? There is a story. It allows them, it encourages expression in children. Maintain now, as an educator, when you work with children professionally, this point is very important. Maintain professional boundaries. And in this, the key thing is balance. When you're maintaining professional boundaries, you have to be mindful not to be rigid and not to be cold. Yes, do not offer personal information. Do not get too familiar. Do not encourage inappropriate behavior. But while at it, sometimes you find out that while it is important to not give personal information, sometimes in teaching the children, in guiding them, in nurturing them, you find that you have to share your personal experiences, because then they would know what you're going through. I have gone through it. Look at how I handled it. Look at how I felt. Look at what I did. And you can learn from it too. So the key thing here is balance, all right? Provide constructive feedback. Most times, what we do when we're guiding and nurturing children is to condemn them, condemn the person of the child rather than the behavior of the child. You need to pay attention to this. Constructive feedback involves looking at the specific issue on ground, not the child, the attitude of the child, the thing that the child failed to do, not the child who failed to do that thing. I hope this is clear. You have to be specific. Speak on the matter, the issue on ground, not on the child. What are the strengths? Bring it back. When you are giving feedback to a child, to be constructive, you have to note the things that have been done poorly and the things that have been done greatly, and how they can keep shifting the balance from the poor aspect to the strong aspect, okay? And also, you need to be patient. In offering guidance to children, there is need for you to be calm. If you can be patient with a child, there is nothing in the world that you cannot conquer. Take it from the children nurturer. Okay, you need to be supportive. Being supportive does not mean that you do the thing for them. Make them think. Being constructive in your support means that you make them think about ways that they can do that thing better. Do not do it for them, but make them talk them through how they can do it better by themselves. And that's how you offer that guidance and be present to offer support. And then here you use clear and effective communication. There is always appropriate, age-appropriate language for every level of or grade of children that you have to teach or you have to nurture. If you cannot use the same language that you use for a 3-year-old to guide and nurture a 16-year-old, while you overwhelm the 3 to 5-year-old, you now make the 16-year-old bored or disinterested in listening to what you have to say. Okay, avoid the use of jargon. This means do not use language that they cannot understand. Do not use high-sounding words. Do not use technical words when you deal with children. Bring it down to a level that they can understand. Articulating instruction means that you put it point by point, blow by blow. Do this. When you do this, then it leads to this. Then you Do you understand? Ensure that the directives that you have given, the instructions that are laid down, are understood. This helps them to perform in ways that are more acceptable and makes it easier for people to learn. Now, you have to be a learner yourself. There is nobody on earth today that knows it all, that has learned it all and has nothing more to learn. And no matter how high you are, you can learn from the least of the persons in your space. And guess what? The biggest, greatest teachers are children. You have to be willing to learn from children. If you're willing to learn from children, you would learn a lot. Be interested in trends. What is going on? What is new? Now, teenagers have some codes, some short codes that they communicate with. Being in charge of children and nurturing children, you need to know that these codes are available. They have some, maybe like they can say parents in room, and then it could be PIR. They are typing and you're wondering, they just type PIR and you don't know that they've told the person, please don't say what you want to say now. Then they can say something. There are some short codes that can say, send me nude pictures. There are some short codes that can say, I want to have sex now. You need to know what the trends are if you're in charge of children. Why? Don't force them to say these things. Encourage them to share with you. All right. Join in the fun. Join them. If there's something they're doing, you see teachers online now who dance with their students. You see those teachers. Now, it might look like they are trying to go viral and get viewership and accolades. No, they are creating access to the children in their care. Join in the fun. When you join them in the fun, it is easier to reach them. Be slow to offense. When a child is being rude, the child is complaining about something. Do not let the first thing you pay attention to be the rudeness. There is a reason why that child is being rude. There is something frustrating the child. Children complain in languages that are not adult languages. And so find out, look in between, reading between the lines. Instead of being offended at the first provocation, call the child close. Point out the behavior of the child, not that you're bad, or that the behavior, what you have done is rude. Why have you done that? What's going on? Ask, and then, as I said earlier, ask the what question, not the why question. When you ask why, it's already judgmental. It shuts them down, closes them off. Ask what. It shows curiosity. It shows genuine interest. It helps you to go beyond just the face of the problem. Okay, these are the major points. And then there are some extra skills.
So much to learn. Honestly, the wordsmith, because we have already gone over time 3 minutes, and we're trying our best to
okay.
time.
I'm actually
Let's talk about this.
I'm
one
done.
quickly.
I'm done.
Yes.
I'm done.
Okay. All right. So we
Okay.
could just talk
So
through
these are
all
also
this.
some.
Yes.
These are also some very important skills for educators, okay? In adaptability, it means that you should ask yourself, what are the diverse needs and preferences of students that will encourage learning? Can you adapt? Can you adapt to these preferences per time? And then when it comes to non-verbal communication and cues, there are these things, non-verbal cues can give warmth, it can create openness and engagement. So you have to be mindful about the tone of your voice, the pitch, the facial expression, the gestures, and the role that these play in communication. Now, when it comes to conflict resolution, there is need. There will always be conflicts, there will always be disagreements in the class with colleagues, with people around them. Can you apply calm and diplomacy that will help maintain positive learning environments and healthy relationships? And can you teach the children how to resolve conflicts among themselves so that you don't have to be a helicopter? This is important. And also parent communication is very vital. All right. Yeah. So At this
Honestly,
point, I
I'm
would
just
say
looking at this. So let's go to your last slide. We're correct looking at this. So, because you talk about emotional intelligence in communication,
yes,
but there's so much
yes,
that you've talked about today. And I was going to,
yes,
I wish we had time for questions. But when you talk
yes.
about emotional intelligence in communication, everybody just take a screenshot of this page. Do we have permission? Take a screenshot from.
Yes, please.
Well, I just want you
Absolutely,
to
absolutely.
take a minute to tell us where we can find you, because you've talked so much about emotional intelligence. You've talked about a lot about etiquette, technological etiquette, I think is very vital. But
Yes.
we want to know, where can we find you? The wordsmith. Yes.
All right. Okay. So these are this is my email handle. These are my Facebook and Instagram handles. I'm also the same on across board on LinkedIn. You
Okay.
can send me messages. Yes, it's the same across the social media platforms.
All right. Okay. So it's the same across social media platforms, but people want you to take, like I said, they want to take a screenshot. Please let them take a screenshot, because I wish we could talk through that page. And if you have any questions, could you please go back to the last slide so that they take questions? If you have any questions at any point in time, please, everybody send her a DM. It's not easy. Let's see reactions. Let's see something that will encourage her. Let us learn to encourage each other as we speak. It's not easy standing in front of people to actually share on a topic with limited time. I'll have one question about etiquette for founders. Now, everybody says that founders should have a way. Do you think the founders should have a way of communicating written for their team, especially when they're handling their social media? Because you've talked a lot about founders, people going to do searches for what you've posted, or on a business page. Should there be etiquettes on what should be said and not be said?
Now, in the etiquette, now I guess this is alluding to technology etiquette, right?
Yes. Yes.
Now, what everyone should have as a guiding principle is this: when you go online, because of the facade that platform creates, you do not know who is who. You could be speaking to, writing at, screaming at, talking down at your, how do Nigerians put it, your helper, the person who has the soap, that
Yes,
particular
sir.
soap that you want to cut.
I like that.
That should be your guideline. You
Awesome.
must speak to people and disagree without being offensive. Disagree completely, but remove any offensive word or attack. It is very vital. You can get into any platform, you can air opinions on whatever you so deem fit, but remove offensive words and offensive carriage from whatever it is. That is very vital.
I love that.
And you should be mindful of the spaces in which you are found. Your decorum is also important. If you want to be seen as a specific kind of person in a place, make sure that wherever you find yourself, you maintain the decorum of the person you want to be seen as in that place. Because the people at that place, the world is a global village, or is it now a room? The people that you let in that place can enter the room in where you're throwing caution to the winds.
Yeah.
And so what happens?
I like that. Thank you so much for your time. The Wordsmith has given us the best advice for every founder. Your digital footprint can work against you, even if you're an entrepreneur. The person that is going to cut your soap will read the comment you wrote on Instablog Nigeria if they're searching for you, and they may decide not to work with you. Whatever you're doing, think before you write. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, Abby, and definitely we're going to have to connect. Thank you so much for your time. All right, then we've come to the end of today's session. Unfortunately, we couldn't do questions and answers, but what I would ask our speaker to do is to drop our Instagram handle in the chat so you can send out your questions or you can reach out to her. Reach out to her if you need someone to come and speak about kids, bring her on board. And I'm going to have the beautiful, the wonderful, the only Stella come back with me so we can wrap up today's session. But it's been absolutely amazing and we want to keep to time. Apologies for going over, but it was still a wonderful session. I had an amazing time with our guests. I wish we had time for Q&A because I'm sure so many people had questions. So just a technology question that I felt would be important for every single person. And she was able to oblige us and respond to that question. It was also wonderful hearing from the OSP family. And as OSP speakers, if you want to learn how to present yourself, reach out to the wordsmiths. You don't know how she's going to help you because it's not just the etiquette of communication. Communication is a skill that can be learned. So please drop your Instagram handle and your email address in the chat so people can reach out to you directly. And with that, today we've come to the end of another amazing session. I learned a lot and I want everybody to tell me one thing they learned. One thing I learned is this: ignorance is not an excuse. The world is no longer a global village, it's a room. And we have to learn that whatever we say in this room can and will be used against us in the court of law. So Stella is coming. And in the court of public opinion, not even in the court of law, in the court of public opinion. So I'm going to ask another amazing person. Since Stella was the first person, I'm going to ask OBK to join me on a mini hot seat as we round up today's session. OBK, you're welcome. Please unmute, and are you showing us your face?
Not at all, not this
Okay.
evening. Some of the time I'll be
I'm
sharing
grabbing
my
people
face.
on my hot seats today. Honestly, anytime I'm hosting, be prepared. Come prepared because you don't know. I will pick you. I'll pick you. Thank you
Okay,
so
I'm
much for
taking
an
notes.
opportunity. I'll hand over to you and I will go away. Abby, or do you want me to interrogate you?
No. Thank you so
All right,
much.
the floor is yours.
Yes, I'm sure we've had a wonderful evening. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm sure we've learned a lot. We scheduled for 2 sessions, but despite the challenges and the delays, we've been able to get value from what the wordsmith had given us this evening. Emotional intelligence, she touched on it and how it can relate to our interactions with teenagers, with children, is very, very vital. It's very, very key, looking at the age differences and the gaps. And the fact that technology has made it easier for the Gen Z to be in the workplace at a faster rate. I'm going to say at a faster rate. So thank you so much, everyone. The octopus, Coach Sam, would love to be here. He's not on this call, but he sends his blessings, he sends his greetings. He loves each and every one of us. Everyone in SECA sends our greetings. We love you. We are grateful that you made it to this first session. And of course, the larger OSP family is grateful. Thank you very much, DK, for stepping in and for doing a fantastic job. If we can just give her a thumbs up, give her an emoji, clap for her, give her just do something, make her feel happy this evening. I'm not seeing the icons. Where are they? You can use the chat. You can use the icon. She's been a phenomenal host. Thank you so much, DK. Our session continues tomorrow, 9:45 a.m. So that's 15 minutes to 10 a.m. So that means we can take our time, look at all we've learned, go through our jottings, come back tomorrow refreshed to have a wonderful session. We'll be listening to Nambo Godfrey for this first session. Such an amazing tech entrepreneur. He will be bringing perspective to technology, particularly to the Web3 space. I had a chat with him this afternoon, It was a very wonderful conversation, and I won't tell you what he said he's going to teach tomorrow. So I'm going to keep it. Tomorrow you will learn from him. And thereafter, we're going to be having another session from an amazing professional in the quantity surveying sector. Mr. Abel Dawa is going to be taking the second session, and it's going to be a fantastic one. Look forward to that session. And lastly, we're going to be having Coach Nafisa Muhammad Buba. She will be the last speaker to wrap up this month's Pan-African edition. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful evening. On behalf of Coach The Octopus, my boss Stella, everyone at SECA, thank you so much. And do have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much. I give it back to DK. Thank you.
I am back. So thank you so much for your time. I will see you all tomorrow, bright and early. And if we have time, we'll take questions. Hopefully, come with your questions. Thank you all for having me. And let's connect in the WhatsApp group. Please, let's connect. All right. Have a wonderful evening. See you bright and early tomorrow. Bye, everyone. At least say bye-bye. You can unmute now and say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.